Welcome back to Casual Sports Takes. This is my NFL Week 4 review, guys, and what a Week 4 was. We'll kick things off with Sunday Night Football. Chiefs, Jets. Patrick Mahomes picked a really good week to play one of his worst football games of his career, and Zach Wilson, on the other hand, had one of the best games of his career. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get the job done. Jets beat him 23-20. There was that one play. You know what I'm talking about. The 3rd and 22, Chiefs had the ball, and Mahomes had an eternity. There was just dudes being held all around him. You know what I'm talking about. It was bad. But somehow they didn't call it. He runs for the first down, and the rest is history. They end up closing the game from there with their drive. Yeah, Jets fans not too happy about that, but you could definitely be happy about this. I'll just read off some of their stats right here. Wilson was 28 for 39, 244 or 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And Mahomes was 18 for 30, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Now, Zach Wilson did have 1 turnover, but guys, we're not blaming this loss on him. If he keeps playing like this, it might not happen this year, but he definitely gives them a shot in the future. What actually went from a blowout to being a really good game was Colts Rams. Rams ended up squeaking out the victory in overtime, 29-23. This is the 2nd week in a row that the Colts have won overtime. The game kicked off, though. The Colts were going to stop the Rams on their opening drive, and then one of the Colts defenders shoved Matthew Stafford when he was out of bounds, resulting in a first down, which resulted in a touchdown. And pretty much from there, the first half of the game, everything was downhill. But after that, in the 3rd quarter, with 5 minutes left in the 3rd, the Colts were down 23-0, and they were able to bring it back 23-23. Puka Nacua, by the way, in overtime, first touchdown to win the game. What a first touchdown that is. You're playing great ball this year. It's just unfortunate that Cooper Kupp's coming back, because if he wasn't, I could definitely see you getting Rookie of the Year. This was probably game of the week, division rival game, Eagles Commanders. Eagles ended up winning the game 31-34, but the Commanders were, they were really on top of things in the first half. I think ended up being up by a touchdown or being up by 10 going into the half. I believe they were up by a touchdown. But after the second half of the game, the Eagles started heating up. A.J. Brown had a 59-yard touchdown, and it was really, really beautiful too. Like, my dude was weaving in and out of defenders. His team was blocking for him. It was really fun to watch him take that one to the yard. But the drama at the end of this game, man, that's where it really shined. I don't think anyone thought the Commanders would come back and win this game, but honestly, I didn't even think they were going to tie the game. Sam Howell, Commanders, get the ball back. I'm not sure how much time they had in their drive, but it wasn't a lot of time. And they ended up getting down to 1st and goal. They had 5 seconds remaining. Sam Howell throws an incompletion, which honestly gave them a chance, because with that incompletion, if he would have caught it, the clock would have ran to 0 and they wouldn't have had time to do another play. But the incompletion happened. They had 1 second left in the game, and he was able to throw for a touchdown, kick the extra point, go to overtime, only to end up losing by a field goal. So these are my notes for the Ravens-Browns game. The Ravens ended up beating them 28-3, but these were my notes. Ravens dominated the Browns in the first half. The Ravens dominated the Browns in the second half. Those are my notes. That's pretty much what we got here, because it was a domination on both sides of the ball. Lamar played a pretty efficient game. He rushed for 2 touchdowns, threw for 2 touchdowns. The Browns also had 65 plays off, and the Ravens only had 55, yet the Browns only had 166 yards of offense, which is pretty impressive from the Ravens defense. They're seemingly pulling away with that division, especially with the Bengals. I have no idea what's going on there. But the Ravens, like I said, pulling away with the division and looking like one of the better teams in the AFC. Bears, Broncos. Oh, man, what can you say about this game? This was a roller coaster to watch. Justin Fields had the best game of his career, and it wasn't even close. I don't watch a lot of Bears games or Broncos games for good reason, but when you have a game like this that on paper looks like it's going to be a car crash, it's hard to look away from it. It's hard not to watch the game. So this is the one I had up on my TV. I had Red Zone on my computer, and I had this game on my TV. Justin Fields has never had a 300-yard passing game in the NFL, and somehow this game he was 28 for 35, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Played out of his mind this game, but that's not the story of this game. The story of this game was, unfortunately, the Broncos being down 28-7 in the 3rd quarter and ended up winning the game by a field goal. So this ties the record in franchise history for blown leads by the Bears. And the thing that sucks is the Bears could have kicked the field goal, tied it up, but unfortunately, for some reason, on 4th and 1, plus wasting a timeout, they end up going for it, and they don't get it, and they lose the game. I feel so bad for Bears fans. You hate for them to go out like this. You guys deserve better. Texans Steelers 30-6. CJ Stroud is impressive every week, and I don't know if he's going to slow down. If he doesn't, he's getting rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year by far. I mean, he just came off the end of blowing out the Jaguars by 20 points, a division rival last week, and this week he comes out here and does it to the Steelers again. 24-point blowout. I mean, I don't know how long they can keep this up for, but they're on a hot streak, and with that division they're in right now, all 4 of those teams have 2 wins. They could easily make the playoffs if they keep playing like this because they have a very easy schedule. Vikings ended up beating the Panthers 21-13, and it was largely due to their defense. Vikings defense had 2 touchdowns this game, I believe. Just when you thought the Panthers might be able to pull ahead a little bit more and give themselves somewhat of a cushion right before halftime, Bryce Young ended up fumbling the ball, and the Vikings defense returned it for a touchdown. And the Vikings ended up getting their first win on the road, making them 1-3 for the year. Bucs ended up beating the Saints 26-9. This game wasn't close. I thought it might be, especially with Mike Evans going out with a hamstring injury in the first half. I thought the Saints might have a chance to get something going, but they never did. They let Baker bake, and unfortunately, he baked that thing to perfection. They ended up winning the game by a large margin, and they lead that division handily. Okay. I just want to say, Dolphins fans, I feel for you. As a Cowboys fan, I know what it's like to have an impressive win one week and get absolutely embarrassed the next week. And that's what happened here. You guys won by 50, put 70 on the Broncos last week, only to lose 48-20 on the road. I thought this game was going to be an absolute shootout from the way it started. 5 back-to-back touchdowns, but the Dolphins were down in the second quarter, 20-31. They went for a 2-point conversion. They didn't get it. And from that moment on, it was downhill for the Dolphins and uphill for the Bills. You see the score, 48-20. It was all Bills second half of the game, and the Dolphins just had nothing in their tank. To keep that explosive Dolphins offense and hold them to 0 points for the second half of the game is really impressive. I predicted the Bills holding them to under 30, but I predicted also the Dolphins to win the game. Josh Allen continues to impress, playing like an MVP level quarterback right now. He had 21 of 25, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's having a great game every week. It's like he got all of his bad moments out in the Jets game, and from that moment forward, he's just like, okay, I'm playing the best football of my career. So Bills are easily, in my opinion, the best team in the AFC right now. I feel like every time somebody sleeps on the Titans, you end up paying the price for it. They ended up blowing out the Bengals 27-3. I don't think anybody expected this from either team. I don't think people expected the Bengals to play this bad. I don't think that people expected the Titans to play this good. It seemed like things were heading in the right direction for the Bengals after their, first win of the season over the Rams last year. But unfortunately for them, it's not like last year. Like, this isn't where the hot streak starts. Apparently that game was a fluke and they're just a bad team because the Titans had their way with them. They had no answer for them on offense or defense. Ryan Tannehill, I guess he's just better than Joe Burrow because, Joe Burrow got paid and apparently he's just done playing football now. This game was a lot closer than I thought it would be. I know that they won by 19 points, but, going into halftime, it was 10-21. And the Cardinals continue to impress me. Josh Dobbs, he looks like he could be a starting quarterback. And I think this year he's working himself into a starting job next year if Kyler Murray does end up coming back. And if not, he might just be the starter for the Cardinals. But CMC, man, he was just the MVP for this game. He had 4 touchdowns, probably could have had 5, probably could have had 6 if they wanted him to. But he had 4 touchdowns. Or in the first half alone, when I was actually watching the game, Christian McCaffrey, he hurdled 2 dudes. And one of them ended up going for a touchdown. That man is crazy. Easily the best running back in the league right now. One of the, I would say, top 5 player in the league right now. He's absolutely nuts, and he's electric. Love watching him play. And this Niners team is easily the best team in the NFC right now. And hopefully next week against the Cowboys Sunday Night Football, that's a potential match of the year right there. Another blowout game here. We have the Cowboys beating the Patriots 38-3. This game kicked off, it's very similar to the Giants game. It was just an absolute domination on the defensive side of the ball for the Cowboys. Early on in the game, Cowboys punted the ball, and Patriots got it back. Really good field position for the Cowboys. So good that Mac Jones fumbled the ball, and Leighton Vander Esch returned the fumble for a touchdown. And then they faked it for 2 points. And from there, it was like, oh, okay, you could kind of tell where this was going, that it was going to be another week 1 type game. And not too shortly after that, Deron Bland picked off McCorkle Jones, giving the defense its second touchdown and giving the offense essentially a night off again. The Cowboys were able to score 2 touchdowns, though. One right outside the red zone, right outside the 20, and one in the red zone, actually, which has been a big problem for the offense. Exciting stuff too for the rookie Hunter Lupke. He was the one that ended up getting the touchdown in the red zone, and Dak Prescott ended up giving him his first touchdown ball. We had Chargers Raiders. This game was really close for seemingly no reason. It was 24-17. Raiders rookie QB Aiden O'Connell was in because Jimmy G was out, obviously. And the beginning of the game, it looked like it was just going to be an absolute murder on the Chargers side of the ball, because Aiden O'Connell had 2 detrimental turnovers in the first half, which made this game look like it would be a blowout. Both of the turnovers, a fumble and an interception, ended up resulting in a touchdown for the Chargers. But this game did get interesting. The Raiders were able to bring it within a touchdown, making it the 17-24 score within the last 4 minutes of the game. The Chargers were deep in their territory on their own 35, decided to go for it on 4th and 1, and the Raiders ended up stopping them with 3:30 left on the clock. Brandon Staley got bailed out by his defense yet again, and they got super lucky because the Raiders almost tied this game with 2 minutes left in the game. They were first and goal. Aiden O'Connell threw an interception, and the Chargers ended up getting their second win in a week, just barely squeaking it out again. They win in the most dramatic fashion, I swear. Jags Falcons. Jags ended up blowing them out 23-7, but this game should have been a lot closer than it was. But Desmond Ridder, he ended up fumbling the ball, had 2 interceptions, which honestly lost them the game. The Falcons had 287 yards of offense, and the Jags had 300. Should have been a lot closer than it was. Desmond Ridder even came out, said he did a terrible job. So that was my NFL Week 4 review. Let me know down in the comments below your thoughts and takeaways, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my Week 5 picks.